and they kind of wore you down inside with the big guy there.
Yeah, no, I mean they're a good team. I think we're missing those pieces. They're even more of a team now. Not that they weren't a team before, but they really, really know their roles now, and they're obviously going to bring the toughness, the defensive mentality. Martinelli, can score against anybody. The good thing is now our guys know exactly what it's going to look and feel like. I mean, it's going to be a physical game. And, we just got off to a bad start, where you can't put yourself in a hole of 10-0 against that team and breed them confidence. And so we got to do a much better job early just defensively of establishing an identity.
And what have you seen in Frank's development? Back-to-back double-doubles. What have you seen in him this season?
I think with him, making the jump is real. It is. And some guys, it becomes something with confidence sooner than later. Other guys, it just takes a little bit of time. I think you got to factor in, he hasn't been playing basketball that much, so there's a confidence piece to that. But to his credit, I think he realized at this level how much you have to put into the game. And as far as just simple as just conditioning, weightlifting, I mean, everything we're doing now is more than he's ever done. And I think falling in love with the process is something I give him a ton of credit for. He's done all those morning workouts, right? No, and the best part about he's done a great job of living in the gym now. But it's getting guys like that to realize, this is what you have to do. Like, what you put in is what you get out, and you can't just show up at this level. And he's fallen in love with like the process of getting better, and you can see the confidence in him now. Just the energy he provides is consistent because he's put the work in, and so just give him really a ton of credit. From that development standpoint and sticking with it and pushing himself to get to another level. And now I know he firmly believes the impact he can make on this team when, he's playing that high energy type of basketball.
How much has he transferred his body?
You have to ask him to get it exactly right, but it's been a good chunk. I mean, and he'll tell you, guys think they're in shape, right? Until you get to a place in the league play where you realize, man, there's more, and then you realize, man, when I lose, how much lighter I feel, especially a guy like him who can now just range rebound or put back dunks. And yesterday he's yelling in the huddles about, I'm going to outrun this big. Like, he's never said that before, and then he did, right? But it's to having that pride now of playing with that motor and being really consistent. And now the goal is to be greedy with that in this offseason, attack it. That's the best part about guys that have multiple years is now your second year is probably going to be better than your first because there's just the anxiety's gone. You know what it is. You know what it looks like. So now he has a plan in the offseason, in the spring and the summer, of the amount of work it's going to take that next step. But it's good for him to see it and now run with it.
He could become a fan favorite just the way that he plays.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah.
But we only see him for a couple of years, and you literally, you're going to have to go get a whole bunch of players as soon as this year's over. What is that process like when you start, you're always recruiting, but it used to be you're just looking at the senior class. I mean, how do you go about it right now? Is NIL the key? Is it?
Yeah, money's the key. But, the good thing is I think we're at a spot now when guys are here. I mean, they like what we do. I think guys that have multiple years, they're going to look at, all right, is this an option? I think, too, regardless of how many years a guy has, everybody's year to year. So you can't make the mistake or feel comfortable as a coach. Oh, man, we got this guy, whether it's a freshman or a transfer, with multiple years. Like, there's a chance I think Frank might have 2 more, right? So now it's like I can't look at that, though, and say, oh, man, because every kid is year to year. You look across the country, I think if you're a head coach or a staff and you feel like it's banked in, that's not the case. It's year to year with all these kids regardless. So you hope that their situation, that they enjoy it. You hope that there's success where they wants them to come back. Obviously, the financial piece has got to be there. But you got to check a lot of boxes now because that's just the reality of it.
Yeah,
and so
60 Minutes said 50% of his Connecticut roster is looking in the portal.
Oh, really?
Talking to people right now. He knows that.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to assume it.
If you're not playing, you're going to be looking, right?
Yeah, you just got to assume it. But then the guys that are playing, you can't take that for granted. And I don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't care who it is, even if you're playing, everybody wants a little bit more in whatever role. And so, yeah, as a coach, you're in your mind, you're game planning. All right, it could be, but you have to think as if it's not, so that you're always prepared for that.
And you built this roster mostly with seniors, transfers. Do you feel like they can sense like the end is near and that I think you've talked about it?
Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, no, we've talked about it. And it's more of like, it's not a pressure thing. I've been around it, and so it's like I'm trying to kind of warn them about, don't take any days for granted, because in 3 weeks, which is the max you could play, you're going to be like, dang, it's over. And you don't get those back. So don't take any moment of any day from here on out for granted, because everybody inevitably has a little bit of like, man, what ifs unless you win the whole thing, right? And so it's just to kind of instill the urgency of like, trust me, I've been there. I've talked to former players. I was a former player. I've coached former guys. You want to empty the tank and value every single day, so you don't look back and have those regrets. Because seniors go two ways. They either want it to continue, or they're worried about, all right, what's my next step? And then you get lost in worrying about that, and you're not where your feet are. And I just don't want that for these guys, because I think we've won like 5 of our last 8 or 9. I mean, there is a confidence. I mean, they still want to keep playing, and I want that to be the main thing. The other stuff, like, that'll take care of itself, and we'll help them. But I want them to just enjoy every day and maximize every day now.
And have you explored postseason play, like if MIT comes or the Crown tournament comes?
Yeah, we'd love for those opportunities. Yeah, we've talked about that as a team, that obviously let's take care of this week and see how far we can go. The more you win, the more opportunities you have. But no, I think 100% we would love to continue to play, especially these guys. I think to get as much college basketball as they can at this level is a good thing. So no, I think that would be tremendous for us, and I think the best thing to put yourself in that situation is to play well.
I know there were a lot of Wisconsin people at the Williams Arena the other night, but there was still a huge crowd. First held, I think they said since 19 or something like that. Were you surprised at how quickly people came back when you beat Oregon, when you started to show signs? Boom, they wanted to be at Williams Arena again.
Not really. I think obviously winning helps. Having a good product and winning games like that, when you beat ranked opponents, it draws attention to everybody. I think just being around it and seeing it, whether it's playing on the road, seeing it on TV, I really believe it is so hard post-COVID to be really consistent when you're looking at those type of numbers of like whatever cell it is. I don't even know, like 14, 13, something like that. To be so consistent with that. But I know here, again, product drives a lot. And again, it's you beat a Michigan, you beat a Oregon. That says a lot about where you're at. You can win on the road. I think people now are like, well, if they can do that, then maybe I could be them. Hopefully the piece that helps them at home. I hope that's the thought, right? I hope that's why they want to come back, is to say, well, they've had success against these good teams here. They've had some success on the road. Gosh, maybe if we feel it, like we can be the next push to help them, win at home. But that's, those are the environments that you want, obviously. And that's what you play the games for. That's why the guys, want to be here. And, super appreciative of those crowds. The hardest part is you want to play your best when you have that type of turnout, because you're so appreciative of that opportunity. And I know these guys want it. And so it's like when you want to put your best foot forward when you get that type of support, so that they keep coming back.
Ben, when it comes to roster construction and it truly being a year-by-year basis, what's the biggest challenge for you as the head coach?
There's so many. I don't know if there's one you can pinpoint. I think it's the challenge of now being able to, put the most competitive team, when I feel like now it's going to be trending more towards an even playing field than it has in the previous years. So now you're looking at it a little bit different from the standpoint of, okay, how do you totally maximize what we have to be as competitive as you can? You also don't want to lose who you are identity-wise. But there's definitely advantages when, the resources are, better than what we've had. You're the decisions you're making are different decisions. So it's being thorough with those decisions. I think we've done a pretty good job evaluating, and being able to find guys that, outplay what people might think. And so now it's doing that at the highest level. And that's the fun part. It's like now you're doing that at the highest level. And that's what I want, my staff, myself, the mind frame, that's what it's got to be. That's what we want it to be. You want to be in the position to compete against the best and push the envelope. I think you look at this year, you look at that schedule, you don't want to punch walls, because there's a couple games where it's like if this happens here, that happens there, now you're maybe looking at 8 or 9, maybe 10 conference wins. And if this happens in the non-conference, maybe, now the discussion is totally different. So that part, when you're going in the portal, it's a big motivator. It gets you fired up and excited for, I will say.
Then at the end of the year, when you guys a lot of teams were playing to make the Big Ten tournament, how was it a little bit tense, and you're looking at the standings and trying to make sure, like, okay, this is where we need to be, and it seemed like it came down to the Nebraska win on the road, and then Nebraska was a bubble team, and now they're out of it.
Right.
So how tense was that?
I think it just shows, and I just try to tell our guys, I think the LA trip really that was huge for us for a lot of reasons. But, you talk about getting the tiebreaker with USC. You talk about the guys handling the tiebreaker versus Iowa, guys handling the tiebreaker in the split versus Penn State. Guys being able to have the tiebreaker versus Nebraska. Like, all those are mini Super Bowls. Now, I didn't want to put those on our guys, but yeah, as a coach and staff, you don't, because you don't know how it's going to fall. So when you have those one-offs, I think everybody in this league has learned how huge winning a majority of those one-offs are. I probably wouldn't have bet at the beginning of the year that 7 wins you were going to be feeling like, dang, is this enough to make sure we're out of the bottom 3? Like, I really would. I thought, man, if you get 7, you probably don't have a lot to worry with. Whereas this year approaches, it was like, oh my gosh, 6, 7, is it going to take 8 to make sure you're not that last week sweating it out? And that's where those one-offs are huge because of the tiebreakers. But I talked about, just looking at Nebraska, I want to compliment our guys on, like, this is how fragile it is. When we played them, they were for sure bubble, if not in. And they were talking about now the seeding. Well, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, you're playing a game to be in the Big Ten tournament. And that's how fine of a line it is and how valuable every single day. And you can't get caught up in, hey, we're on a 3-game winning streak, because it can go like that. Or we've lost a couple in a row, because you can flip it and all of a sudden you're on the other side. So it's a great lesson for these guys that every game is so valuable because of momentum. And all of a sudden, you win one that maybe you're not supposed to, it can spiral, and all of a sudden, like we did, you win 3 games in a row. You lose one that maybe you're not, just human nature sometimes, or to your point, maybe it's pressure. I don't know. For each team it's different, but it can go the other way. And you just want to be even as you can. Never try to put that on our guys. I'm not dumb. I know they read stuff. I know they see it. So you're trying to give them the right perspective so that they're worried about the right stuff. I do think a couple times at home I could feel it, and that's what you don't want with these guys, because we're not a team that handles that well. So you're trying to have the balance of, like, how do you lighten that, but also know that they know it, and that is the reality of it. I guess the one thing that was tough for me, and maybe because we were in the mix, you guys would know better, I think the part about the 3 teams not making it, I get it. I just don't want that to take away from the guys that are leading our league with tournament talk and seed talk. I don't want all of a sudden now the national media or local is worried about who's not in versus promoting our league so we get 10, 11, 12 teams in. And the talk is, hey, who's going to win the Big Ten? The talk is, how many teams are going to get in the tournament? Because next year we want to be in that mix, and we don't want the national perspective to be consumed with, oh, man, who's not going to make the dance? No, it's, man, let's be one of those teams that's in. Let's get the national media to talk about who's in there so that, we get some respect for the league. And I'm not saying that didn't happen this year, but that was the only thing, sometimes you worry about. It's like, that's not the focus, guys. Like, let's talk about the teams that are in it,
Have you learned anything new when you go into the portal? Have you learned anything about, what you're looking for? I mean, obviously, with few conversations and an NIL number float out there and you're looking at tape, you can figure that out. But have you learned a few things about what to look for in terms of, or what questions to ask to that kid that is in the portal?
Yeah, I will say a benefit of having gone through it is you're able to a little bit kind of figure out, okay, if a player is going to make a jump from levels, just doing some research, there's certain spots or certain levels that maybe it's an easier adjustment, right? If that makes sense. So, there's been
know that conference and that conference.
you just get a better feeling the more you do it, and the more you see kids on other teams, you see teams that maybe get kids from this certain level versus that level, or this league versus that league, and what translates, or man, why did this kid go from the summit to here and have a ton of success? And then you start, well, let's find 10 other guys that made the jump from that particular league. You start, you're able to put numbers to numbers, So you just think about that stuff when kids hit the portal. It's like, all right, there's certain levels, if we're going to go down that we need to really focus on, because the chances of them bumping up. So you definitely look at numbers as you get more of a sample size, a lot better. I think we got to do a better job of just identifying, shooting probably, and being able to just hone in on that. I mean, that's the separator. Everybody knows, like, the more shooting you can get on the floor, and just the spacing is better.
But are there guys that are really good shooters because they have time and space in one league that they're not going to get in the Big Ten? Does that have to come into play too?
No, I just think, again, this is a benefit from just a lot of the resources now. You're able to look at a different demographic that, just has higher numbers, But I think it's just, it's combing through and just identifying, like, okay, you can see trends though too, like numbers-wise, whether it's shooting, whether it's shot blocking. You can value stuff more as you get just bigger, larger sample sizes. So now it's really combing through those and saying, all right, if a kid's in this range, does it translate, or do they need to be a little bit higher to make sure it translates to decrease the chances of not working? I think that's all it is. Like, nothing's guaranteed. Hope everybody knows, like, nothing's guaranteed, but you're trying to, like, minimize those opportunities where it doesn't. So how do you do that? Well, numbers always help. So the more numbers you can accumulate to make you make a best decision as possible.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks. Yep.
Just consistency, you know what I mean, with my coaching, just getting extra work, and just my team. I think the guys, the vets, been on me a little bit, you know what I mean, just keeping me motivated, and I think that's what's really been changing, just letting me know, like, it's gonna come, just be consistent, just don't change what's been working for you.
How much have you slimmed down workouts from the off season?
A decent amount. I think, like I said before, like, I like food, so just being disciplined on that aspect, and just really changing, just being more disciplined, you know what I mean, just being more mindful of what I consume, like even just a little bag of chips, may have a little run at the end, you know what I mean, just being disciplined, and it's paying off, right? It's paying off, just listening to my coaches, everyone around me, because I know everyone around me, especially with this program, this organization, wants the best for you, you know what I mean? So just listening to the people around me and just being disciplined. Even when I'm here, it's easy to do when I'm here, but when I'm away, you know what I mean, do I stay disciplined? And that's just what I've been doing.
In February, did you say you have Italian heritage?
Yeah, my mom's Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom's.
What are the go-tos that?
Pasta, you know what I mean? My grandma makes all that stuff, so it's family. Like, if you're Italian, you know, food is a big staple in Italy, and especially my best friends are Italian. My other best friends are Portuguese, and this food is just all in my friends and my family, so it's hard to get away from it, you know what I mean? But it just comes down to discipline.
But it's been paying off.
Yeah, for sure, you know what I mean? Just the little things, you know what I mean? You just do the little things great, and just life is starting to change for the better for the whole team, you know what I mean? So.
Frank, you haven't played basketball as long as some other guys, but you feel like, what's the difference in the adjustment from each level, like, that you've got?
It's every day, you know what I mean? Like, it's being great every day, you know what I mean? Like, whether it's practice, you know what I mean? Even in the classroom, everything trickles down to the court, you know what I mean? Like, if you miss a tutoring session, I start off like he said, start off bad and end off bad. You know what I mean? So it's just the level of change is just being more consistent. Like the higher you get, the more consistent you get, because everyone's doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But how do you separate yourself from everyone else, right?
What about the Big Ten for you?
Yeah, the Big Ten, physical is one of the best leagues, I think, and I'm blessed, you know, thank the Lord above, you know what I mean? I'm blessed to be in this situation and play against great talent every day, and I think it's just a physicality part that I needed adjustment, and it comes down to, like the coaches said, just discipline and waking up every morning. You know, some days it's hard, but it's just being just tedious, doing it over and over and over again, and you know, like I said, the Lord above, and it's paying off, right? So.
Ben kind of talked about the future next year and coming back and improving. How much have you thought about coming back?
I haven't really been thinking. You know, I'm just thinking about the game ahead. You know what I mean? We play on Wednesday, and that's all I've been thinking about. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about next year. I'm not thinking about the day after that. I'm just thinking about, you know, getting ready for that game. It's a big game, and I'm trying to make a run. We all want to make a run, so that's just our focus right now.
You're blessed to have years left, but not a lot of your teammates do.
Yeah.
Can you sense like Dawson, some of the
Yeah,
guys,
like
they don't want to go home?
yeah, these guys put with blood, sweat, and tears in it, man. Like, you know, Dawson, Femi, Fox, Lukai, all the seniors. You know what I mean? Like, they're another reason why I had to be more disciplined, because, you know, as I'm not only doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the program, for the organization, for my teammates. You know what I mean? Like, just them talking to them, their voice is so heard. Like, to my opinion, you know what I mean? Just them talking to me means a lot to me. You know, so it's just. I owe it to them, you know what I mean, to get my best foot forward and just do it for them, you know, because some of these guys don't get to play a college basketball game again, you know what I mean? So I think they want it, and I'm blessed to be around people like that.
We've seen a little bit of an edge come out in you at times. What was the source of that for you?
Like I mean, like emotional
just like
edge.
a little aggression.
Yeah, maybe that's a hockey in me. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, just physicality part. I guess I'm a smaller big, but I think the physicality part is allowing me to do what I do. You know what I mean? I think you have to have a little crazy in you to be good, right? So that's what I'm doing for right now.
What did you take from your first matchup against Northwestern for this week?
Man, they're a dog team, man. These guys work hard. They go at every loose ball, like 50-50 balls they're trying to get. Like, this team is rugged, it's blue collar, right? And we just have to have that mentality going into prep, and just have that mindset, like, who's gonna win? Like, dog eats dog, you know what I mean? Like, we just put our heads down and do the little things to win, you know what I mean? Cool is not gonna win the game, you know what I mean? You have to be okay with looking ugly, doing the dirty work, and that should be our mindset, and that is our mindset going to this Big Ten tournament.
You were a starter earlier in the year, and then coming off the bench for a while. Like, you and Brennan seem to bring just a different boost to the team, you know, when they need it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm blessed to just be able to go on the court, man. You know what I do? I go on the court and I just play hard as I can. You know what I mean? I think it's just surrounding yourself in the right thoughts, right? Like, you think about the team, and when the game's done, you're like, oh, I did that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just getting lost in the fight, thinking about the right things, and it's paying off. Like I said, it's the team. It's the coaching staff that's been motivating me and just allowing me to be who I am.
With Brennan, have you noticed too that?
Yeah, he's a killer. You know what I mean? Like, I see it every day in practice. You know, that's my roommate, so I'm around him all the time. Brennan's a killer. You know what I mean? Like, he's motivational. Like, even when he's on the bench, when I'm beside him, I get a different urge with him. You know what I mean? Like, Frank, you're good. You know what I mean? It's the next play. Everyone on our team is just killers, man. Like, everyone, like he said in his interview, everyone's a family here. You know what I mean? So, just hearing things from other people, like, especially my team, it just motivates you. You know what I mean? So, I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
You got to watch any hockey yet?
Yeah. I didn't watch that. I know there's a little high school thing going on. I don't know if we'll be here, but if you are here, I'll definitely check it out. You know what I mean? See some hockey. I watched the Gophers, and yeah. Thanks, guys.
This opportunity to keep your season going in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, it's a big-time opportunity, and we have obviously a team that we owe first game, so we'll be excited.
Frank was just here. You know, what has he done playing the way he is in the front court with you?
Yeah, he's done a lot. You know, he just plays with a lot of energy and aggression, which has been good. You know, it's really what, you know, we've known he can do this whole time, and so just looking forward to him, you know, not being satisfied and keep going.
Which do you think, if at all, about the idea that, you know, your career goes now as a college player basically as long as you keep winning? Do you feel pressure? Do you feel motivation? What's your emotion on that?
Yeah, I think it's just motivation. I don't think anyone wants to lose or go out just because I think everyone understands the circumstances. it's really, you know, as far as guaranteed games are concerned, it's win or go home. And so, you know, we have our goals set on high expectations for ourselves.
When you look at the end of the season, it feels like there's a lot of teams playing to make the Big Ten tournament, you know, and you guys put yourself in that position where you didn't have to necessarily win that last game to get in. Did you feel that way, like towards the last month of the season, that you and a lot of teams were playing for those spots?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Because we know, I mean, before the season where everyone had us, you know, ranked dead last in the Big Ten, basically everywhere across the board. So it was extra motivation and just obviously we wanted to, you know, win those last two games, disappointed with that. But I feel like that second half of Rutgers, you know, we got back to playing the type of basketball that we know we're capable of. So we're looking forward to carrying that into the Big Ten tournament.
What have you seen in the work that Frank's put in to build himself into a Big Ten player and be able to produce top levels in a year?
Yeah, I mean, he's really taken it upon himself to get himself into shape and early morning workouts. So, you know, I'm proud of him, and you know, I know the time and energy he puts into it. So it's cool to see as a brother and teammate.
Dawson, you reflect on your basketball journey. What are you most proud of?
I would say just perseverance each and every day, showing up each and every day and giving my 100% effort, physically and mentally. I say that's what I'm most proud of, and then being able to share that with a great group of coaches and teammates that I've had the opportunity to with my whole career.
With Ben, I know you and Parker have been with him for a little while. Like, how's he grown since you first got here as a coach, and like, what do you remember most just playing for him?
Yeah, I just remember really just all the big time wins that we've had and just the celebrations. Just because I know, you know, he's an ultimate competitor, I'm ultimate competitor, and you mentioned Parker, you know, he's an ultimate competitor too. So, you know, that's what I really remember, and just all the days in practice, the good days, the bad days, and everything in between. And just, you know, he's grown a lot, you know, since he's been a head coach, since I've been here, and, you know, his future is, you know, very bright with this program.
The celebrations, like post-game, did you notice maybe things have changed this year? It feels like almost every win is like a celebration, but, you know, you got to feel that way, right? You got to enjoy the win.
Yeah, I think this year we've had some pretty loud wins. You know, not knocking any, you know, we won 9 games in the league last year, but this year we've had some very loud wins, and so that's been a fun thing. And, you know, you can tell, you know, when a head coach has the locker room, the respect and all that, and the belief just by the way those celebrations at the end of games, and, you know, how everybody's into it, like, you know, we're all on the same mission.
What do you take from the first matchup with Northwestern into Wednesday?
Really just take that we just got to surpass their physicality and can't let certain key players on their team get going comfortable early. So I think those are the main takeaways, and I'm fully confident, you know, we'll be able to do that.
I know it was the end of the Nebraska game. The guys had to finish it without you when you're dealing with your ankle. And how are you feeling now? But also, you know, just watching Frank and some of the other guys just win that for you guys. I think that probably got you in the Big Ten tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, yeah, ankle feels good. It's just kind of one of those things where, you know, feels good in the games, and then worse the next day. So it's just one of those things that it's time. I just don't have time right now, but it doesn't affect my play or anything like that. It's just really just pain the next day. So that's all it really is. But yeah.
And that Nebraska win just at the end, just, you know, watching the guys instead of, I know you wanted to be out there.
Yeah, nah, but it's fun. No, it was great to see them close that game. Obviously, B. Riggs was great in that game, and it's just, you know, he really stayed the course the whole year. Highs and lows that he's had. And I'm proud of him, you know, for the mental resilience. That shows a lot. It shows a lot of character and toughness from him. So I'm proud of him for that moment, and look forward to seeing more moments like that from him.
Thanks, Dawson.
Thanks, Dawson.
Thank you, guys.